The Trumps are making headlines again for their crypto shenanigans, getting sued by billionaire Justin Sun. Meanwhile, Polymarket and Kalshi are looking to add leverage to prediction markets, while the New York Attorney General sues Coinbase and Gemini for having prediction markets at all. Now, there's certain days where the crypto gods just absolutely make it rain headlines on us. Today is one of those days, and I don't want to take it for granted. So let's go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Wolf on Yahoo Finance. I am your host, Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets, and we're going to spend the next 15 minutes running through all the big headlines and trying to discern what is signal and what is noise. And as I said there at the beginning, we have some crazy headlines to discuss today. I love days like today because there's a lot to talk about, but we also have Bitcoin price up. Bitcoin currently trading at 79,377 American dollars per token. Now, if you read the mainstream headlines, if you check out Bloomberg, if you go to the Wall Street Journal, they're going to tell you that Bitcoin is up because of the infinite ceasefire in Iran and because of the macro and because of the risk on environment. Now, those narratives may be true because obviously a positive macro situation always helps a rising tide float all boats, and Bitcoin is one of those boats after all. But if you've been watching any of my other shows, I'm on YouTube every day at 9 a.m., you would see that we've been talking about this inevitable move to the upside for the last few weeks. Now, this was just last week, actually. Miners have not been selling Bitcoin since February. They're often one of the biggest sellers in the market. At the same time, whales have accumulated 270,000 Bitcoin. That is the fastest rate that these large wallets have accumulated Bitcoin in a 30-day period since 2013. And these are provably on-chain, the same wallets that were selling Bitcoin above $120,000 all the way down to 60. So once it hit a low, the biggest wallets the smart money have been buying. Exchange reserves are now down to the lowest level since 2017, meaning there's extremely limited supply. And if you've been looking at perpetual swap markets, which we'll get into later for prediction markets, you would see that we have a rare situation where funding has been negative, meaning that most people are short, meaning that there are shorts to squeeze, meaning that upside is almost inevitable. And by the way, even here pushing up against 80,000, the market is still positioned short with leverage. There are still shorts there to squeeze. But Bitcoin about to hit $80,000 is far from the most interesting story that we have today. Because today we have crypto billionaire Justin Sun. He is suing the Trump family, or more specifically, World Liberty Financial, over token rights. Now, I don't want to take for granted that you know who Justin Sun is. Everybody in the crypto world does. He is an eccentric crypto billionaire who founded TRX and many other projects. He's known for being an incredible marketer, for making an announcement of an announcement and creating incredible hype around tokens. Now, he's also known for having bought a $4 million lunch with Warren Buffett, and maybe more famously for having bought a $6.2 million banana at Art Basel that was taped to a wall and then eating it as performance art. This is the Justin Sun that we're talking about right now. So Justin Sun has made some pretty strong claims here, and I'll give you some background on it right now, but I want you to go ahead and bring up this tweet right now. Today, I filed a lawsuit in California federal court against World Liberty Financial to protect my legal rights as a holder of WLFI tokens. This is where it gets interesting. I've always been and remain an ardent supporter of President Trump and his administration's efforts to make America crypto-friendly. This lawsuit does not change how I feel about President Trump or the Trump administration. We actually got exclusive footage, never seen, of Justin Sun writing this tweet. Praise Trump, sue Trump. Praise Trump, sue Trump. Not really sure which one to do there. But all joking aside, this is actually a very serious suit. So I'm going to give you a timeline of events that people have been pointing to that they view or suspect that could contribute to your understanding of this. So in 2023, the SEC brought charges against Justin Sun for market manipulation. They said that he was basically wash trading the TRX token to create fake price action. And then also other claims like paying celebrities to market the token without disclosing that. Now, I am old enough to remember times when Neo and Lindsay Lohan would randomly tweet about TRX out of nowhere about how they were buying it and were super excited, but I can't say whether that was disclosed or not. But in 2024, after that suit was raised in 2023, we had World Liberty Financial, which is the Trump controlled, they'll say that it's not at this point, but the Trumps and the Witkoffs and friends created this platform, World Liberty Financial, because they had been debanked and they wanted to bring DeFi to the world and help people. So Justin Sun was one of the early contributors to that, one of the early investors. He kept putting in money until he had a stake of about $75 million in World Liberty Financial. Now, entirely coincidentally, 3 months later, his suit with the SEC was paused. But then, just a couple months ago, in 2026, it was dropped entirely with prejudice, meaning that that suit can never come back, paid a small $10 million fine, and admitted absolutely no blame. And then immediately sued World Liberty Financial. And the claims he's making here seem very accurate when you look at it. World Liberty Financial has been under heat since the very beginning. They had an 80% investor lockup of tokens without a plan for how those tokens would ever be released to those investors. He points at that. They've made an outrageous proposal on how to do that recently when they've come under fire, where basically you either vote for it or you don't get your money at all. But Justin Sun himself was entirely locked out and said he was frozen months ago. This has been ongoing, and then said he also doesn't get voting rights as a result. Then he went on in this suit to make the claim that they threatened to burn his tokens entirely and just get rid of his stake and make it disappear from the planet, just to punish him for speaking out against them. Now remember, this is the guy who had the #1 seat at the meme coin dinner because he's the largest holder of the Trump token. So, I mean, let's dig into the heat that World Liberty Financial has been taking in context of all this. Just a few weeks ago, you saw this report right here. Trump's World Liberty Financial uses $5 billion World Liberty Financial to borrow $75 million from a platform its advisor co-founded. That is a mouthful of a headline. So they created this token effectively out of thin air, right? Which is a very crypto thing to do. They took 5 billion of those tokens, moved them to a platform called Dolomite, which is controlled by one of their advisors. And they took out a massive loan, 75 million here. Claims have been that it's over 100 million in total in actual money in the form of stable coins, which then disappeared. Now they used almost 100%, up to 93% of the utilization of these pools, meaning that they took all the money out. And so anyone else who's in there, the retail investors they were meant to help, can't get their money out, ever. So this is clearly maximum extraction of value by the Trump family, or to Justin Sun's point, maybe their team, the people that they trusted here. But either way, it is very suspect. Now, you saw in the image before, all of the Trump family and the Witkoffs and the guy Chase Harrow with his hat on backwards randomly, they were on the website when they were raising money. They were on there when this was being built. You heard Eric Trump talking about World Liberty Financial all the time. Well, now if you go to their website, you'll notice that you go to the About page and there's no team anymore. And we've seen some evidence of them scrubbing tweets about World Liberty Financial. The Trump family clearly has been distancing themselves over the past few months from World Liberty Financial. This story is only going to get hotter. Sadly for the crypto industry, it's a blight and will be more fodder for the anti-crypto army led by Elizabeth Warren and her friends. We'll be closely watching what happens with this lawsuit and with World Liberty Financial, but this is certainly proof that we are living in a simulation. And speaking of the anti-crypto army, we have certified general in the anti-crypto army, Attorney General Letitia James sues Coinbase and Gemini for running illegal gambling platforms in New York. Coinbase and Gemini's prediction markets are unlicensed gambling operations that put New Yorkers at risk. So in a minute, we'll get to how prediction markets should be handled, whether they are actually gambling or not. But what's curious here is that New York has a contentious relationship with the crypto industry. They have something that they call the BIT license. It's almost impossible to get your hands on to be able to offer your products in New York. Now, I remember when New York was a fun place. I used to live there. You could literally go into Times Square with no pants on, with a spray paint bottle and spray paint a passerby's back with your name, and they would laugh and you'd go to have a drink. Well, now New York literally hates fun, right? They want to tax everybody for everything. They want to make it exceptionally difficult for people to gamble or spend their money or participate in crypto or participate in prediction markets, any of those things. But once again, this is only Coinbase and Gemini. Kalshi and others are still operating in New York. So clearly they chose the best targets for press and the easiest targets to go after, which is always the crypto industry here. Now, we're going to get into some more news right now. I don't think this case is going to go on. Coinbase has already said this should be under federal jurisdiction. There's already a battle with the CFTC versus the states over who should regulate crypto markets. But at the same time, we have this news right here. Perpetual futures markets coming soon to Kalshi Polymarket. These are the two largest prediction markets. You'll remember that Polymarket played a massive role in the election, much more accurate than exit polls. And people have started to look to prediction markets for true information as to what's likely coming in the future. So you know what we should do with that? Add 10x leverage. Okay, let me first of all state something that's going to be very unpopular with the crypto audience that generally follows me and watches. I personally believe that prediction markets are obviously gambling, and I don't understand the opposing argument. You can use a prediction market on the outcome of a sports game, but they don't call it sports gambling because it's a prediction market. And this is where the regulatory turf is interesting, because states obviously would regulate gambling, but the CFTC would regulate derivatives and commodities trading and all of those other things. So that's why we have this turf war going on. But think about this. You can now gamble on the weather tomorrow, which you could already do on prediction markets. Now you'll be able to lever up and gamble with 10x on the weather tomorrow. And not only that, you can actively enter and exit this bet before the market even closes and you know what the weather is tomorrow. Now, I think that I espouse libertarian values as a Bitcoiner, and I deeply believe that people should be able to do whatever they want with their money, that the government should effectively stay out of people's affairs. I believe in freedom. That doesn't mean that I think these are good products that people should participate in. And of a greater concern is if you take a look at history, when we see gambling reach a fever pitch, when we see speculation reach a fever pitch, it's almost always a symptom of underlying problems with the system and that people are feeling desperate. Now, you don't have to go back far to see this. You can look at the GameStop shenanigans when COVID hit and people were sitting at home. They didn't have ways to make money. They were desperate to make income. They thought that they could get rich overnight by speculating on markets. Go back to the Weimar Republic. Hyperinflation was so bad that people had to use wheelbarrows to move their money and to go buy bread. And that was the highest heights of speculation ever in the history of Germany, because people were so desperate that they were willing to gamble on anything to try to get ahead. And I can bet that regardless of the stock market being at an all-time high right now, or Donald Trump telling you that we have the greatest economy ever, that you have a friend or you yourself are feeling extremely fearful and extremely desperate and feeling like a hamster on the wheel who can't get ahead. And now we're going to feed that beast over and over and over again with high leverage on prediction markets. Do I think they should be able to have these? Sure. Do I think that you should use them? Absolutely not. Absolutely never. I hope that none of you touch these. It's absolute insanity that you will be able to trade with leverage on everything. Add to that the fact that we have clear evidence by the Trump family and others of insider trading on prediction markets. You are not a sharp. You are not the smart money when you go into prediction markets and try to gamble on what's going to happen with an event that you have no control of. And you are absolutely gambling against someone who has inside knowledge of what is coming. We've seen it in crypto markets as well, on hyperliquid, but also in prediction markets with oil trades around Trump's truths. I don't know if we call them tweets or truths. I don't really know what it calls when you lie. Is it a lie or is it a truth? I guess if you put it in print on Truth Social, then it's a truth, right? So you're gambling against someone with insider knowledge. There's nobody regulating that or punishing those people who know exactly what's going to come, and you're going to lose all your money on heavy leverage betting on those things. So once again, I'm a libertarian, but this is highly problematic, and I do not think that this is a product that any of you should be using. Today is insane. I didn't even get to half the headlines that I wanted to discuss, which is good because it leaves us some fodder for tomorrow. The Trump family obviously has been extracting value from the crypto market. There's no question about that. Now, on the positive side, he's been great for legislation and regulation and for the legitimacy of the industry in the United States. I believe that the industry is here to stay. But on the flip side, you always get all of the grift and the unfortunate part where they're extracting money from you. In the meantime, now we're going to have people extracting money from one another, smart money taking it from dumb money in prediction markets with leverage. It's a scary time to be alive. I hope that none of you are participating in this because you feel like you can't get ahead, because there's one way I believe where you can. That's just to simply buy Bitcoin. That's all I got for you today on the Daily Wolf. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.